And we're gonna focus. There we go. All right, so we've already talked about multiplication using area models, and now we're going to talk about multiplication using standard algorithms. So we're going to talk about two different ways. We're going to talk about the expanded version and then our little shorter standard version. Um, for the expanded version, I thought of Gina the Giant from Wall-E Kazam because she's big and she's expanded. And then standard is our standard Wall-E. And so I'll show you both ways to do these algorithms, and you can pick whichever one you want. Both of them work. Both of them you'll be able to figure out. You'll both get the right answer, and either way, whichever one you prefer, you can use. So before we get started, both of these algorithms they use place value when you're talking about expanded form and standard form. So let's take a look at 54. So 54 is really 5 tens, right? And 4 ones. And when I'm looking at 23, it's really 2 tens and 3 ones. So I want you to keep that idea in mind. So 5 tens and 4 ones and 2 tens and 3 ones. So I want you to keep that in mind. I really, really do. It's really important to do that. So let's talk about expanded form first. So let's write this how you would normally write it. And I'm going to pick a different color. I'm going to pick blue here. So I'm going to write my 54 and my 23 right underneath. Okay. And so my first thing that I am going to multiply, the first number that I'm going to multiply is this 3. And this is actually 3 ones. Remember that? We'll talk about 3 ones. So, and I'm actually going to multiply that 3 ones to the 4 ones. So that's going to be my first step right here. So this is 3 times 4. So 3 times 4 goes right here. And I'm going to write the number. And that number is 12. Right? Because 3 times 4 is 12. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick with the 3, and now it's going to be 3 times this 5, but 3 times 5 is 15, but it's actually 3 times 5 tens, right? Because that's 5 tens, and this is 4 ones. So I'm going to write that 3 times 5 tens, which is 50. So 3 times 50, or 3 times 5, remember when we were talking about multiplication and multiplying by tens? So here we go. 3 times 5 is 15 plus a 0 on the end, adding a 0, so it's 150. Okay, so that one goes right there. All right, now we're going to start with 2. And this is not a 2, but this is what? This is 2 tens. It's not just a regular 2, it's 2 tens because it's right here in the tens place. It's 23, so this is 2 tens. So I'm going to write that down right here, and I'm going to start with 2 tens times 4 ones right here. So 2 tens looks like that, looks like 20 times 4 ones. And I know that 2 times 4 is 8, and I put a 0 on the end, and so that should be 80. Looks just like that. All right, so now I have my last one. So I have 2 tens times 5 tens. So that one goes right here. 2 tens times 5 tens. And so 2 times 5 I know is 10, right? And then I'm going to add 2 more zeros onto that. So there's my 2 zeros, and it's actually 1,000. Okay. Now all of my multiplication is done. Okay, all my multiplication, I did that all in one step. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add all these up just like this. And 2 plus 0 plus 0 plus 0 is going to be 2, and 1 plus 5 is 6, and 6 plus 8 is going to be 14. And I carry my 1 over. And 1 plus 1 plus 0 is going to be 2. And finally, 1 plus nothing is going to be 1. So my answer is going to be 1,242. So that's what it looks like in expanded form. Now I'm going to do a standard form for you, and you'll see the difference very quickly. So let's just do that. So let's have 54 and 23. This is our standard algorithm. It's not going to be expanded like this. So I say 3 times 4, and that is 12, and I put my 1 up on top. And then I say 3 times 5, which is actually 5 tens. So 3 times 5 is 15, plus 1 is going to be 16. Okay, and then, so here's the tricky part. Now I'm multiplying from the tens place. So I need to start in the tens place. So I need to have a placeholder here. So I skip 1 over, and a lot of times we'll put a 0. So I'm just going to put a 0 in a different color. I'm going to put it in yellow so it really stands out. So there we go. There's our placeholder 0. And since we have 20, so now it's 20. This is 2 tens. So that's why we're starting here. So 2 times 4, okay, 2 times 4 is going to be 8. So I'm going to write that right here. And then 2 times 5 is going to be 10. So I'm going to write that right here. All right, and now I'm going to add everything up, just double checking my math. So now I have 2 plus 0 is going to be 2, and 6 plus 8 is going to be 14, and 1 plus 1 is going to be 2, and 1 plus nothing is going to be 1. So either way, I'm still going to get the same answer of 1,242. So this is expanded form, where we take each part and we multiply it out. So 3 times 4, and then 3 times 50. And then we take 20 times 4, and then 20 times 50. And that's what we did down here. And then we just added them up. So this is one way to think about it. And this is kind of like a little shortcut way, where we use this kind of placeholder to say that, hey, we're multiplying not by 2, but actually by 20. All right, so either way works, and you'll still get the same answer either way. So hopefully this helps. I'll see you guys later.